Hey, how are you? I'm Slice of Otaku, and as of this recording, a week ago today, Shonen Jump's new online subscription service has gone live, allowing fans to not only read the latest chapters of some of the most popular manga series in the world for free, but also pay a subscription fee of only $1.99 to have access to over 10,000 chapters of manga, accounting for a large sum of the publisher's extensive catalog, which I think is an amazing step in the right direction for the future of the brand and manga itself, as it incentivizes fans to both consume more from the medium and support the people behind it legitimately. And so it's for that reasoning that I'm making this video, to properly address certain issues that currently plague the potential of this pathway. And admittedly, I was at first hesitant to outright label it all as broken, but unfortunately things seem to have progressively gotten worse. But we'll start out nice and easy with the features department, as I feel like simple changes and additions here and there would just make the reading experience a whole lot more enjoyable. Currently, there is no bookmark functionality, which makes the experience of revisiting where you may have left off with a series rather frustrating. However, when you do find said chapter, the app does manage to remember the precise page you left it at. For now, I've only just started reading one series from chapter 1 upwards, so the issue isn't as irritating as it would be if I was doing the same with multiple works, but it's still annoying nonetheless. And I mean, there is a My Library tab, but its usage feels a bit dated as it doesn't seem to have been redesigned with the new subscription features in mind, since it only accounts for purchases and downloads. And having to download a chapter every time I stop reading in place of a bookmark is pretty ridiculous. From there, I find that the browse feature is also somewhat lacking. It's pretty bare bones, simply sorting everything in alphabetical order, not having an option to sort in terms of publication date or even just genre. And sure, virtually everything just falls under the shonen umbrella, but there exist subgenres beyond that, like sports or comedy. You also can't seamlessly separate content included in your subscription and content that is not, such as the entire JoJo's Bizarre Adventure franchise, any of the Naruto novels, One Punch Man, or even Hunter x Hunter. But you can purchase their digital volumes individually the old way if you so please. Now, something I'm sure may initially annoy some people who are considering subscribing happens to be the 100 chapter reading limit. That despite having a subscription, you can only read so many chapters within a span of 24 hours. Now granted, that is a lot of reading to be done in one sitting, so the rule really won't inhibit most people, but in the case of speed readers, I can see why that would be problematic. Or even just for people like me who study certain manga to an extent and may need to skim around multiple chapters, it's kind of a turnoff, especially when non-legitimate sources don't enforce any such restrictions. And what's worse is that within the membership details section, where you can see how many more chapters you have until your daily limit is reached, they use the word unlocked. So based on that, I was under the impression that if I were to go back to a chapter I had already seen on a previous day, it wouldn't impact my limit, but it did. And when you couple that with the likelihood of skipping around chapters caused by a lack of a bookmark feature, you can end up quickly burning through your limit, as just clicking a chapter and exiting counts as a reduction. And I suppose you could make people pay a bit more to be truly unlimited, but I'm not sure I really like the sound of that at all, but feel free to let me know if that's something you'd be willing to accept. From there, we have the home section, which for the sake of transparency, will be a bit nitpicky. I'm not much of a fan of this layout or user interface, and I'm not a graphic design major or anything, but as a consumer, it just doesn't appeal to me. There are 4 sections, and only half of which I would actually consider relevant. We have latest free chapters, read all of One Piece, on sale now, and new volumes. The latest free chapters part is cool because when a new issue of Jump comes out, I can just quickly go through and read what I want to read. The read all of One Piece section, to me at least, is pretty dumb, and that's coming from someone who reads One Piece almost religiously. It encapsulates the first 30 chapters along with a see all option, and I really don't see the point. If the intention is to push the literal biggest ongoing series they have, then why not just do the same pop-up format that they have with the Dragon Ball Super manga? I would much prefer a recommended section or even just a quick bar of where I am with the series that I have most recently read. The on sale now portion is what feels like another unnecessary inclusion, as it's just the first volumes of some of the most popular manga available. I get wanting to have me pay for entire volumes, but once again, why not just give me something useful and have this as an ad? It's not like it's based off my current reading or anything. And lastly, the new volume section is just a better, more relevant and informative version of the on sale now portion. But now let's finally get to where the app goes from manageable to utterly broken. Like I said before, I have only just started reading a single series from the ground up using this app, and that series happens to be The Promised Neverland. And on 2 occasions I got a missing image page, which forced me to resort to another source. I completely closed the app and went back to find the very same issue still persisting. But luckily it has since been dealt with, as the pages are now there. But I can only imagine that this issue persists in other areas I have yet to visit, because when the new chapter of Dragon Ball Super dropped, both young Kami J and I had this issue on the very first page. What's worse is that I have found myself with entire broken chapters, where I click on a chapter and it ends up only consisting of 2 pages. Times when a simple swipe results in me skipping more than half a chapter, only noticing later as there was no visible indication. Chapters that start at the end with an excess of pages, going over the amount included in the chapter with a negative amount of pages left. And when this happens, the app attempts to push me towards the following chapter, and when these chapters completely break, they throw off the order of preceding chapters, something that I cross-referenced with other sources. And wow, I just said chapters a lot of times. They have this thing where if you swipe to the right while on the first page, you're hit with a "you're reading the wrong way" prompt, which at times may result in a sudden black screen forcing you to exit the chapter. And something I found to be particularly frustrating happened to be the app crashing if I were to pause my reading of a chapter to enter another application such as Messenger and return. And for some reason, sometimes certain series will take a very long time to load the lists of their chapters, so I have to close the app multiple times just to finally get it to come up. Each of these problems by their lonesome are annoying enough, but in conjunction with one another, the whole thing just ends up being an unusable mess. At first, only some of these bugs were apparent, but once I updated to version 5.0.1 on iOS, things got much worse, and for me at least, version 5.0.2 hasn't changed the issues I have encountered in a noticeable way at all, and the same goes for version 5.0.3. But I will say that 3 updates focused on fixing the app in the last 6 days is a good sign. So hopefully the bugs that I have encountered can be mitigated soon, because I really do enjoy the app beyond all the problems. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I think this service has an insane amount of potential. Potential I would very much like to see fully realized. However, a moral high ground that fails to entice will surely have a hard time competing with a world of piracy with a sea of innovation and features. But yeah, if anything I said in this video managed to spark your interest, then I implore you to share this video, or even just share the concepts of this video as much as you can. Tell your friends, tell people online, include a bit in your reviews of the app, whatever. I really appreciate you taking the time out to watch this thing, and if you're interested in seeing more quality anime and manga content, then give the rest of the channel a look. Thank you all so much for watching, and have an awesome day. I love you.